Welcome to Totally Talent Podcast by HR.com, your go-to source for all things talent. Whether you're looking for expert insights on high-volume hiring, the latest trends in recruitment technology, or strategies for building a winning team, we've got you covered. Join us for each episode as we dive deep into the challenges and opportunities shaping the talent landscape today. Let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Totally Talent on HR.com. I am your host, Mike Wood, and we have a returning guest today. We have Raj from Trua, who was on the show probably about a year ago, talking about digital identity verification. And so, Raj, welcome back. Great to see you again.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me. Great to be back and good to see you again.
Yeah. So we were last talking about how, background checks don't necessarily go as each job that you're applying to, you're doing a separate background check, and it's costly and whatnot. Now, what your whole system is a little bit better than that, and it kind of mirrors TSA pre-check, which you were part of creating. Can you just give us some background on that?
Yeah. So in my previous life, we were the foundational architects of the TSA pre-check. Right. It's because there are a lot of people post 9/11 wanted to speed through the security check line and so on and so forth. The long lines, and every time you have to provide some information. So we said, hey, let's get something where somebody gets a speed pass. Give all the information. We'll verify you once, and then you'll provide a TSA pre-check. In that case, happens to be a number. Right. And then they will, when you go to the airport, any airline, any airport, they'll punch in, they have the receiver that punch in the number, and the number pops up something. And then they say, okay, I need to see that valid driver's license or a passport, some form of ID. And they will match it and then say, okay. So TSA pre-check takes care of the due diligence on you, not necessarily the identity of you. Even though you provide all of that information up front, they still have to match you. So what we have done, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of press about mobile driver's license in 15, 16, 17 states. They're pushing that. But what they're trying to do is mobile driver's license is basically a digital version of your driver's license, right, with a little bit of bells and whistles. And what we have done is we have taken the concept of mobile driver's license and the TSA pre-check combined into one trust credential for life. Basically, you get it once, and then you don't have to ever share any of your PII, whether it's social security, date of birth, driver's license, any of that. All is in one, and it's encrypted, and you hold the keys to it. That's the most important thing. That means you got to verify what information is in there. There's no senior, junior issue, name issue, or SSN issue, date of birth issue, number issues, and so on and so forth. You have basically verified it and said, this is me, this is my profile, this is my background, everything. However deep you want to go, it'll do it. And then if a relying party wants to verify you, you merely present that token to them. And then they say, okay, that token is Mike Wood. You have given permission for this particular relying party to verify you. And you'll say, hey, what do you want to verify? Oh, I want to verify, obviously, your identity. And I want to verify your criminal record, for example. And then you basically, in your digital wallet, there's a profile. I say, okay, you slide the button and hide everything else except those two things that the relying party wants to see. And then you transmit that, and the relying party gets it, and they bounce off against Trua and say, hey, is this correct? And then we say, yes, it is correct. The same thing if you want to verify your age verification. Yeah. So you have not shared any PII with this relying party. Imagine that, right? Not even your driver's license. Oh, copy of your driver's license, front and back, and fax it to us, or send us via email or whatever it is. That's all a bunch of baloney, right? Because that is ancient, that is industrial age, and that is prone for hacking and all kinds of stuff, and perhaps nefarious things people are doing. And it's getting worse in this AI age, for example, right? You can just say who you are with some sort of static picture or whatever it is. So we actually have what we call a genuine presence. So when you try to authenticate somebody, we actually look for your genuine presence, and that's the big difference as well. So that is exactly what it is. It's a selective verification and selective disclosure as well. So you don't have to overshare what you don't have to. If this person doesn't require your civil issues, I'm just making this up. Maybe somebody has bankruptcy or some late payments or whatever it is, but they don't need to disclose that. They are very interested only in your criminal background. That's all they get to do. So in today's world, when you do background check, you get everything. They get a big PDF. And that's the biggest issue that people are facing is oversharing data, privacy, and so on and so forth. So we have eliminated all of that and put the consumer or the individual in this middle of this process we have co-opted them in this process. That eliminates a lot of issues for companies as well in terms of compliance issues, wrongful claims, and so on and so forth. Hey, that was not me. Oh, no, it was you. You shared it. You controlled it. You're the ones who gave me this, right? So it is a very, very what I call a win-win situation all around. You get to protect your privacy. The consumer, the businesses, got rid of the headache of collecting the information, storing it, guarding it with their life, buying lots of cyber insurance, hacking insurance, and whatnot. You don't have to do any of that. Think about the economic benefit for the entire society. This is going to be so huge. So we have tested this in one of the major use cases, which is the employment screen, right? So we've got tens of thousands of subscribers in this now, and we are now going to the next level, which is going into the trust and safety of digital platforms. Some major platforms that say, hey, start doing this, right? Whether it's dating sites or care providers or telemedicine is another big one, right? So they're all big targets.
I love this because I think we're going to have to get more local services in the future. And I was telling you a little bit before we started. My mom has Alzheimer's. I'm going through trying to start the process of maybe getting a home health aide, something in there. And I can't imagine inviting somebody into her home with a vulnerable family member that could have problems, that could have this hidden past. So I would love to, just to give me peace of mind for stuff like that. And then
one more
I
thing,
love that
right?
you're putting,
Yeah.
I actually think that, okay, go ahead.
No,
Sorry,
the
go
one
ahead,
more
Raj.
thing, right? Even if these platforms are doing this verification, right? It's one and done. In fact, I wrote a recent post on the whole issue of Uber and dating platforms and so on and so forth. It is causing a lot of problems because let's say, hey, we're going to do a quick check on you before you sign on to this, and then something bad could happen subsequently. Ours is always continuous. Think of it like a FICO score and a credit report. It's always current and it's always continuous. So let's assume you get your True credential today, and 6 months down the road, you share that with somebody, they get the latest with your consent in it. So the consent is built in. There is no 2-point font term sheets in our platform. It's a 10-point font, so to speak. You get to read what you're agreeing to. It's very simple, and say, okay, this is what I want to do in terms of my data and how I want to share.
So who buys this? Would it be the consumer themselves or the person like I would buy it, or
Right
the
now,
company would
because
buy it? Okay.
no, it's the sponsors, the employers, and whoever it is. They're the ones who are buying. Right? We have a major healthcare company. They're buying that. We have a big financial services company. They're doing that. So one of the things we have is right. There are two aspects of it. One is as you're onboarding new people, and then what do you do with the people that are already inside the enterprise, right? They've been there. They were background checked 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. How do I worry about them, right? Because they're what they call insider threat. So we have a skinny down version of that, which is basically continuous evaluation of existing workforce, right? Because they're already on your payroll. You've already checked their I-9 and whatever it is, right? When they were onboarded. Now you are only worried about potential issues, threat signals. So he said, hey, I'm worried about I cannot have anybody with a DUI work for me. I cannot have anybody with a criminal record work for me. I cannot have anybody with bankruptcy work for me because those are all the primary guidelines that are usually laid out in your human resource manual, right? So how do I know about that? So that's when they buy this through a continuous evaluation, and then within less than 24 hours, they're operational, and they'll start getting potential alerts and say, hey, this person, we'll do a look back, and then going forward, if there is an issue, somebody gets arrested, somebody has a criminal record, it'll pop up, and then you investigate that, and then you have a counseling session with the individual, or if it requires additional, action, right? Then you take those actions. But at least you have the signal ready to process. So we have covered the entire enterprise. And then let's say this company is onboarding new employees, and they're also onboarding new customers for their platform or for their whatever it is, right? So you can use that, the Trua platform, for those things as well. It's a full spectrum solution, because we thought about it. The first one was for the existing employees. That's our first flagship product, and then they said, hey, do you have anything for newbies coming on board? Do you have anything for our customers? Right? I want to verify their identity. That's when we added the identity piece and all of the other screening aspects of it. And then now we have a full spectrum solution for the entire enterprise. So the
So
buyers
how
are
do you
typically
navigate?
like,
Yeah, sorry, I
sorry,
was
you
gonna
asked me
say
about the buyers.
yeah. The how do you navigate the privacy concerns over like the existing employees? Whether they're
So
like, I don't want to be
basically,
continually monitored.
yeah, but here's the thing, right? When you signed on to the company, you signed a document that said the company has the right to do a background check anytime and every time. You already signed that. Almost 90% of the companies have that provision.
Yeah.
So they just didn't have the means to do it. Again, they cannot fire you for anything. They say, hey, and then they say, when you sign receiving your human resource manual, right? HR manual, sign up the first day, you sign a bunch of documents. They have those provisions that say, thou shalt not get a DUI, thou shalt not go bankrupt, you have to notify, right? So basically, most companies have what we call self-disclosure. And very rarely that happens. So all that we are trying to do is provide them like a alarm system, provide them an alarm signal, and say, hey, this thing happened. You need to independently verify before you take any adverse action. So it's
Okay,
also
I got it. So
sometimes
like, yeah.
many companies, they don't want to lose people because they've already hired. Somebody could be going through some issues, right? And say, hey, let me see if I can provide some counseling for them. This is meant for those kinds of things as well. It's not just for adverse action, right? This is also for counseling purposes. Somebody's going through some tough times. They had some eviction or whatever it is, and and they're a good employee. They've been a long-term employee. Help them out. So we have covered that aspect as well. Today, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact I love seeing good tech kind of skip around different industries and use cases, and the whole dating platform thing it's amazing to me. So I was born in 82. I grew up when the dating platforms online was just kind of starting out. I met my wife, who's behind me. I met her on Match.com actually. But the systems that came out for the next generation below me, like maybe 20 years ago, like Tinder, that type of stuff, where people were meeting up in person more, and you never know who you're going to end up with. So I think, for women out there, that's huge, to be able to have some sort of protection guideline.
It's a big, big, big deal because almost all of those platforms, I wrote extensively about this, many posts, they just do a cursory stuff because that is not their core business. They don't want to spend the money in doing all of that. That's why we came up with the easy solution that say, hey, tell your subscribers to get their token less than 5 minutes, and they can use it for elsewhere as well, not only for dating platform or something else. And then once you get that 5 minute, less than 5 minutes, you get that token, right? Trust token, what I call the trust credential, trust token. You can use it for any and all purposes going forward, right? That way, you're also solving this issue for some of these digital platforms, age verification, right? Oh, we're going to scan you, face your face, and guess your age. That's all BS, in my opinion. Those things can slip through. Instead, do the opposite. Say, hey, if you don't have this token, you cannot get on the platform. And we don't give the token until and unless you have a valid driver's license. And the valid driver's license is 16 and a half and, wherever it is, 17, 18, right? So
Yep.
whatever it is. So we can verify that much. When you have a driver's license, we know your date of birth, and we can also say this is your age. So you can verify your age without you guessing it or asking for it and somebody lying about it or this or that, collecting a driver's license or birth certificate, any of those things. Nothing needs to be collected. You don't need to add pile on more data into corporate databases to need to be hacked. Look at the amount of breaches. $38 billion of data breaches last year and more. They haven't counted everything yet.
I
And
honestly think that
privacy is
my
out the
social
window.
security number is just sitting out there somewhere, with the
Yep.
amount of different times I've disclosed it. And you're trusting these companies, you're trusting them to not disclose it. But I mean, I don't want to ever get hacked. I don't want to have anyone deal with like trying to steal my identity. If they do, they're not going to get far. But like, I've peace of mind. That's all I would be looking for.
Yeah, so a lot of companies, there are two camps in my opinion. One camp is, hey, I have no other alternative. I'm bound by this. I'll try my best to guard it, lock it, buy insurance, and all of those. That's one camp. The other camp is, I want to collect it. I may want to use it for other marketing purposes. Okay? Think about that problem. And both of them are crooks, in my opinion, meaning the person that says, hey, this is the way to do it, they have not explored other options. And the person who's collecting and say, I may use it for other options, they should be, shamed out of the society. So you cannot collect this. You do not do that. Your job. And that will happen only when there's enough. That's what we are building this out. It's been there for 2-3 years now. And we are getting lots and lots of subscribers, and we are growing, right? As it grows and the groundswell happens and the awareness comes, people are going to start questioning. I don't want to give that. Give me a different alternative. Right? That's the alternative
Exactly.
that we have built. And it's not just talk.
So tell me about yeah. So tell me about the growth you've had over the last year or so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say probably, at least 50-60% growth at a minimum in terms of subscribers. So, we want to double. But another thing is we have not had any outside capital. It's all self-funded, all groundswell. So it's pretty compelling. We've got now, 6 or 7 patents now issued. And, there's 5 more pending. And then, we're going to be launching something called a trust bureau. Right. So you get your credential, and then the trust bureau, like a credit bureau, will be able to bounce off. The relying parties can bounce off that trust bureau and say, hey, is Mike Wood verified? You will get the response saying, yep, his identity is verified. He's over 21 and he has no criminal record. That's all they need to know. So we are building, just like a credit bureau, we are building a trust bureau. Only thing is, in this case, the user has control of it. Today, you don't have any control of your credit report or your credit score. In this case, you will have the control, and it's fully privacy preserving approach because there's no PII floating around.
I love it.
So stay
I
tuned
think it's
for
a
that.
great idea.
That's something going to be launched later this year.
And you told me a little bit before we started that you're coming out with a book soon. Tell me a little bit about the book.
Yes, the book is coming out next quarter. It's basically, the title is the trust crisis, how the big tech stole your identity and how to take it back. I'm giving them step-by-step method of what has happened, why it has happened since the dawn of the internet, how it has evolved, and how the entire structure is really rigged against consumers for a variety of reasons, right? Some of it benign, some of it purposeful, right? And so on and so forth. think about early on, when they're collecting information, they're giving it away for free. A lot of stuff. Your email, oh, sign up for this service, it's free. Whatever it is, whatever they're collecting, they were collecting information from you, and that was based on how do I compensate as a digital platform, number of eyeballs. That's how they sold to their shareholders. Hey, I got million eyeballs, 2 million eyeballs, right? But they're collecting information. It's like collecting groundwater, and then you have no say in it. They were collecting right from underneath you. So
Yeah, that's just
now we're at a point where they're sitting on troves of. You have created honeypots all over the world, all over enterprises, and they're guarding all of it with with their lives and insurance and whatnot. But they never bothered to say, okay, is there an alternative way to verify the individual or screen the individual? We
yeah. I
have the
think if
ones.
I had
I have thought
yeah.
long about that because we've been in this industries for long. I said, let's think totally different. Let's flip the script and see if we can do a different way.
I think if you gave people control of their own data to some
Yep.
aspect that you have, if you have your true ID, like that's great. Let me control my ID, the data that people see, because I think tech in the last couple of years are just taking more and more data off of us. And now I'm at the point where I'm training AI to do things against me. So it's just
Yeah,
having some
that's what
control over your own thing.
more, right? AI agents, doing things on your behalf, and somebody could just hack in, pretend it's your agent, and then screw up the entire thing, right? So that's another thing. So that's why this trust token, if you have a trust token, identity token, whatever you want to call, verifying that it's a genuine human being, you can attach that token to anything in the future, right? Any transaction, AI transaction, or otherwise. Even when you're applying for a job, right now bots are applying, and the recruiters are bombarded with all kinds of bot resume. They don't know if it's a real human being on the other hand. In fact, there was a big story about North Koreans applying for a lot of these jobs indirectly, right? So if you have this token that is you, and then you attach it to that resume, and it's transmitted, and when I receive it, I have a receiving piece of application on my end, and it's, oh, this is verified as a human being. Well, then I'll pay attention to that, and then the next 10 are bot sent. You can ignore them. I want to deal with
Yeah.
human beings. I want to hire. That way, my hiring process is quicker and faster. Oh, by the way, this person's not only identity, but also they have their background check done. So I just need to interview, make sure they fit the qualifications, and boom, come on board tomorrow if they're ready to work. And in the
Yep,
next
and
5
you could put credentials in there. You could put, the rest of the background that this person has the skills that they say they
Yep.
know. You put
Yep,
that in
and
there,
the
and it,
education verification, professional licenses, all of those things. In the next 5 years, think of it, right? They're expecting onshoring and reshoring, onshoring, and big manufacturing growth, right? And what happens?
Mhm.
You want people to work starting yesterday. Today, it takes 3 to 4 weeks to bring somebody on board, right? Now I'm coming with all my credentials, all that you have to make sure that I got 2 legs, 2 arms, and whatever it is, right? And that I'm a human being and I'm living at certain place if it's a remote job, and or come in and for a facial, subjective interview, and then boom, done. You can start the next day. You talked about some of the digital platforms, right? You Buzz Buy quits in a restaurant and they need somebody to, this night. How are they going to bring somebody? You need somebody who's already pre-vetted. They can't just say, hey, you want to take a job, or I have to screen you and I'm going to check. No, they're pre-vetted. It's in a platform. Hey, I'm going to send you to this particular restaurant in this part of the town. You go this evening. Maybe they'll hire you for the week or for the month or for the year. Who knows? So the gig
well,
economy itself is a big deal because gig economy people are just floating around different jobs. And every time they go, somebody has to screen you. You have to provide all the information over and over again. So repetitive sharing of PII is the biggest problem in society. And that is
yeah.
what this solves.
If Uber had your tool, they wouldn't be dealing with half the problems that they're
Uber, I've
dealing
been
with now.
screaming at it because they think they know it all. But I just wrote a post about it, how they have botched it. Hey, they do, oh, yeah, we do screening. Yeah, you do screening once. And then they are crooks. They're hiring illegals now, for God's sake, because it's all done remote and people are faking it, right? You're not checking other stuff, and it's not continuous either.
Yeah. It's
So
like
ours
introducing a
is
cancer
continuous.
cell into like the body. It's going to corrupt everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is not enough to just screen up front, but you have to screen continuously.
Well, this
That's
has
the
been great, Raj. Thank you. Thank you for joining me again. If people want to find you on LinkedIn, they can. It's Raj Anand. I am so bad at last names, Raj. Okay,
That's okay.
what he
Don't worry.
said.
Ananthan.
And I'll be sharing this interview and your book when that comes out too. I find you fascinating and I love listening to you.
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks for tuning in to the Totally Talent podcast by HR.com. We hope you find today's episode insightful and inspiring. Don't forget to explore more episodes and discover valuable resources at hr.com/podcasts, where you can listen to all of our podcasts. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and making a difference in the world of talent.